We don't know. So we need to have that conversation with you at least once a year, at minimum once every other year, to make sure we're properly protecting you.
And that's kind of leads into the third thing, which is, I mean, I think we talked about car, we talked about home, we talked about life insurance, right? Because people don't think about that. And recently, I mean, within the last couple of years, I had a good friend that passed away, right?
Yeah.
And I did his. I sold him a house. I sold his house and got him in another house, and he got a mortgage.
Yep.
And he had kids, man. And like his wife calls me, Ever, did we have life insurance? And I was just like,
that's my dreaded call. That's my dreaded call. I feel like I didn't do my job unless I, at the very least, had that conversation.
Yeah.
Because we talk about properly insuring a family, right?
Yeah.
If they're fortunate to work with you as a real estate professional, right? And you got them into their dream home, right? And then you refer them to me to insure their cars and their home. We make it a point that, hey, in the weeks, within 30 days of you buying that house that we just insured, we need to have a more in-depth conversation about how do we prevent a foreclosure sign going on that front lawn. And then they're like, well, what are you talking about? Well, an ugly reality is your spouse, if you're not here and you guys are a dual income family, we got to make sure we're protecting that, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're not here, right, and you're pillared and that pillar is gone, then the house falls. We want to make sure that the house doesn't fall, right?
And I want to tell you, I used to have a little, and I was a little bit timid about it because I'm not trying to add another cause to something that's expensive. They're already buying a home, and so they're spending a lot of money,
right?
And their budgets are very tight generally at these times, right? When you make a transition. And I'm not trying to add more cost on their belts, but at the same time, now I have to be reflective of like that happened,
right? It happens all the time, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
And here's what families can't afford, right? We're talking about cost, and we want to add another cost. I don't look at it that way. I'm looking at it that if everything's already costly and they're just getting by and they're a dual income household, what they can't afford is not to have life insurance. Think about it.
Yeah.
Right. If they're each making $100,000, right, and they're at $200,000 and they're comfortable, right? They're not buying Lamborghinis and things like that, right? But they're living comfortable, right? And they rely on each other's income. It's sustaining the lifestyle that you've built as a couple, right? And in the event of an untimely death of your spouse, making sure that your family's still protected, that their financial future is secure. And that's what I talk about with my clients, is making sure. We're not talking about, getting your spouse, making them a millionaire. We're talking about, hey, if something were to happen, because that is an ugly reality in our world, right? People die, unfortunately. Yeah. Making sure that families are properly protected, the financial future of that household. At least the
basics, right?
At least paying off the mortgage, right?
Yeah.
My philosophy is paying off debt plus 5 times your income, to making sure that the family, their lifestyle isn't affected, right? Let them grieve, right? GoFundMe isn't life insurance, right? Your family shouldn't have to do that.
Right. Yeah,
so. Don't go to McDonald's for a week, right? Because McDonald's is expensive. You go to McDonald's these days, it's $40-$50, right? Well, so forego that McDonald's or that Starbucks for that week and buy yourself a life insurance policy to protect your family. What's more important?
Well, easy. I mean, on top of that, McDonald's.
It's a no-brainer.
I don't want to badmouth McDonald's. Probably watch this and give me.
Sorry,
trouble,
yeah.
No, but you know what I mean. Like that's you're double dipping on that when making a bad decision and spending money.
Yep, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You probably do better.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably won't die if you.
Right.
Anyways, man, that's something that for me, and I wanted to share that with you because it was very difficult, but it changed my perspective on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now